All right, so today's masterclass, here's what I really want to uncover. The fact that you signed up or are watching this tells me some area of life you are feeling stuck, whether it's finances. The big three that I see most people feel stuck are finances, relationships, or health. And so today, the big thing I have on my agenda, there's only three things I want to cover today. Number one, I really want to help you create awareness around your blocks, why you feel stuck. Number two, for showing up, I'm providing you, I have a special offer at the end, and then we will close it with a Q&A. So now that we know the agenda and what we're getting into, I'm going to share my screen with you. So here's what I really want to take you through today. The idea of creating a new reality or creating change in life. The four pillars I coach my clients through are these right here on the screen that I'm showing you. I really want you to know that change is simple. It's not necessarily easy at first, but think about building any new skill. I remember when I was learning how to snowboard, that wasn't easy at first. Maybe the first few weeks on a job aren't easy at first, but it is simple. So, what I want to share with you here is the four main pillars that I teach from. And in order to create change in life, here's where it begins. And this is what we're doing on today's call, awareness. Without awareness, you can't create change in your life. You have to know where you are starting in order to create a better future. The second step that I really teach from is the idea that you have to have a clear aim. I find that a lot of people feel stuck because they don't know what they want in their life. After awareness and we have a clear aim, the next step is application. This comes down to the daily disciplines, the practices, just like going to a gym or brushing your teeth. Excuse me, you don't do it once and you're set for life. These are daily disciplines you have to commit to. And finally, when you put these all into play, you will attain or achieve those wanted results in your life. Before I continue, are there any questions on this framework?
No, that looks pretty good.
Okay. And really, I do my best to make this super clear and easy to understand. So the first step, and that the big thing on today's call is understanding awareness. So what I'm going to do is drop a link called the life assessment in the chat. You can also find this directly on my website, heatherhakes.com. It's in the menu bar, take the life assessment. But this is where we have to start. So let me go ahead and drop this in the chat. I'm dropping a link, so if you'll take that, it maybe would take 2 minutes. So that's where we're going to begin. You- All right, so don't continue on and watching this until you've taken the life assessment because none of the rest of this is going to make sense. So here's where I want to begin. I have seen hundreds of life assessments come through, and generally speaking, there's a lot of threes and fours, which I understand people feeling stuck in different areas. Before I go into the ones that I've seen most recently and even today's, here's what I want to offer you. And I want you to understand why I asked you those questions. Because remember, today's all about awareness. Those life buckets that I asked you, your health and fitness and finances and relationships, I want you to think of each of those as spokes on a wheel. What is the common denominator of all of those major life buckets? You. You are the common denominator. So hopefully you can see that when one area of life is off. So for example, maybe you're stressed out at work and it's affecting your sleep and it's affecting your relationship. So you can see if one area of life is off, it creates a bumpy ride and affects all of the areas. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so the whole point of mindset coaching, I go all in on the root cause. There's a lot of things in personal development, it's very surface level, fluff, dopamine motivation, which I do not do. We get to the
Mhm.
root cause because when you change, which I'll get into shortly, everything improves for the better. So just to go off of the life assessment I received today, um, all right. So at least you have some short-term goals because a lot of people don't. And here's the big ones. Working out consistently, so health, ideal outcome. Well, let's go to your lowest number. So relationship. It seems that relationship is your pain point. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Okay, so if relationship is your biggest pain point, Can you see what other areas of life it's currently affecting?
Social life.
Social,
Um,
did you say social?
yeah.
Okay. So it's affecting hobbies, interests. What else? Is it affecting mental, emotional, physical health?
Mental maybe. Not really physical health.
Stress. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
that's
this
about it.
this is very common. So for you, relationships are your biggest pain point. And then I can see across the board, everything else is actually pretty good, better than some that I have seen. And I want you to know there is no judgment here. The point of a life assessment is to kind of get that 30,000 foot overview, like what is your pain point, so we can figure out a plan of action. So for you, let's go all in today. This makes sense on relationships. And a lot of my clients that I've worked with, very successful businessmen, six, seven, even eight figure, but relationships take a back burner. And here's what I want you to know. The relationships you have with others are a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. Did that line land?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I want you to know. Like life is a reflection. So, for example, if we were talking money in the situation, if money was your biggest pain point, the dollar amount in your bank account is a reflection of two things only. It's your money mindset and your self-worth, like your self-image, what you believe you deserve. So let me give a real world example. I spoke with a gentleman a while back who's been in now this was ironic. He's been in the financial planning industry for 20 years. Now, let me ask you, somebody who's in the financial planning industry, helping others with their finances, how much do you think he would be making?
You would think at least high six figures.
I thought at least a quarter mil, but I think
Oh,
some probably making 500 grand or more, but I thought at least 250. He hadn't even crossed 100,000 annually.
wow.
And my mind was blown. I was like, wait a minute, you're coaching others. So his pain point was money, obviously. So he's coaching others money. He's not even making six figures. And so obviously this had a lot to do with he didn't believe his in charging more for his services, and there was a lot. But I just want you to understand dollar in your bank account, money mindset, and self-image. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go on. Yeah, we're gonna go on from here. So the big thing I want you to understand is the idea of reality creation. So, how have you created the current results in your relationships, in your health and finances, and in business? It all begins with thoughts, which I will explain in just a moment. But before I go into what I call the thought cycle, I want to start here. Now, this is not maybe common knowledge, maybe not, but generally speaking, you have somewhere between 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. 80% of our daily thoughts tend to be negative, and 90% of today's thoughts are on repeat from yesterday.
That
So,
sounds about right.
sorry, what?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so can you see that if you have more than 60,000 thoughts a day, which you can't monitor all of them, but 90% are on repeat and 80% are negative, if you don't start becoming more self-aware and changing your thoughts, nothing in your life will change,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So the first step is awareness. Now that you know those statistics on thoughts, I want to share with you the thought cycle. So this is where everything begins. Your thoughts, which are the first domino in reality creation, then create your emotional states. And it's your emotions that drive your behaviors, your actions or inactions like procrastination, being inconsistent, creating every result in your life. So I just want to pause. I want you to think about that a life assessment you just took. If we reverse engineer and your pain point, today we're kind of focused on relationships, but that example I just gave, that financial planner not even making 100 grand. If we look at your current results and we reverse engineer, now can you share with me maybe some inaction actions or inactions that probably aren't serving your desired result?
Yeah, probably not going out to meeting with new people. And if I do see someone that I feels attractive, I always hesitate to go up and talk to her and just
Oh,
blow it
this
off
is
and
even better.
procrastinate.
Sorry. So time out. You're
Oh,
single. We're not talking about a current relationship rut. You're single.
right, yes.
Oh, okay. Even easier. Okay, good. Okay, so sorry. So, okay, you're single, but you want to be in a relationship,
Yes,
but you're not really going out to meet new people.
right.
And we won't go down the rabbit hole of dating apps.
I've tried them, yeah, nothing good comes out of that.
Right. Okay, so you're not getting out to meet people, but actually, time out. I'm not going to go into this yet because we're going to go into this shortly. But I just will
Okay.
reverse engineer. And maybe, you're feeling like discouraged, or maybe you're introverted or whatever, but it all begins with thoughts. There's nobody out there. Let me just ask you, what are your thoughts around dating and meeting someone?
There's definitely people out there. I just haven't put myself out there enough. I mean, I went on a speed dating event a couple weeks ago. It was fine, but it was tough for me to do. It was way out of my comfort zone, but I'm glad I did it.
Okay, well, that's a huge start. You got out of your comfort zone, so you're taking some actions. But really, what I want to get to here is thoughts, which we're going to get into shortly. So, again, what I want you to get from this framework and understanding is if thoughts don't change, actually, let's reverse engineer. If you don't have the current results that you want, relationships, finances, health, business, we can reverse engineer to see the actions. Staying at home isn't gonna, they're not gonna show up at your doorstep from Amazon, right?
Nope.
But it would be nice. And then let's now
Sure.
talk about, like our mental, emotional states and why that's driving sitting around getting unwanted results. Again, you can use this in any area. So, from that life assessment, take the one that got the lowest score and plug and play here, but you can use this for any of those life buckets. Before I go on, any questions regarding this framework?
No, not right now.
Okay. All right. So, generally speaking, I want you to share with me, and it could be overall, but could definitely be around this relationship um, life bucket. Can you name three emotions that you find yourself in most often?
Uh, I want to be fear of going up to someone and talk to them.
Okay.
Um, just procrastinating, thinking something's going to happen tomorrow. Something's going to happen tomorrow. Something's going to happen tomorrow. And just being, I am kind of introverted and shy overall, so that doesn't help.
So, can we say insecure there?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So, thank you for being honest and sharing that. And the reason I asked this is because remember, let's look up at this emotional guidance scale. Sorry, the thought cycle. Your emotions drive your behavior. So, somebody who is fearful, procrastinates, and feeling insecure is going to unconsciously self-sabotage by sitting at home or procrastinating, getting unwanted results, staying single. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I start here and why emotions are everything, there is nothing wrong with emotions. And this is called the emotional guidance scale. So think about it like a spectrum. At the very top, when you're like in the zone, had the best day ever, you are in joy and gratitude and you're feeling empowered. And down at the bottom of this scale is fear, depression, powerlessness, victim mentality. And so there's a spectrum. Again, there's nothing wrong with emotions. We're meant to feel them. We're feeling beings, but I want you to understand that your emotions are your check engine light. Your emotions are an indicator of the thoughts you are thinking, and it's your emotional states that are driving the behaviors. So they're like a sign of curiosity that when we become more curious and observe our emotional states, then we can think new thoughts, take new actions. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so now let's talk about wanted results. If you were, and I'm sure you've been in a relationship before. So,
Yes.
When you're feeling, well, let's just talk about the opposite of all of these. So, somebody who is confident, who's consistent, and the opposite of fear here could be faith, it could be in love, it could be whatever. What do you think somebody in those emotional states, what kind of results will they get?
Maybe we'll go out and talk to anybody they're attracted to, have fun doing it,
All right,
and
yes.
just be confident in doing it. Yeah.
100%. So think about that. We are always either our greatest asset or and only obstacle. So think about that. When you change your emotional state, which is what we'll get into, but when you change your emotional state and you take on even it's called like an alter ego, and it's coming to a blank. I don't know why, but Beyonce has an alter ego called Sasha Fierce, and Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant.
Hmm.
Bryant had an alter ego Mamba mentality, and think about Bruce Kent became Superman, right? They all had alter egos. Why? That new identity, somebody who is confident, secure, and is taking action is going to get what they want in any area of life. Would you agree?
Yes.
And I think you probably know, like we know a lot of times we know what we need to be doing, but we still self-sabotage. And a lot of times it is unconscious. But perhaps, from other relationship experiences, that's why you feel insecure or you are fearful because they've failed or broken heart or whatever it may be, right?
Right.
How long's it been since your last one?
It's been about 3 years now.
Fair enough. So, but have you gone on dates a little bit here and there?
Yeah, here and there.
Okay. But
Yeah.
ultimately, do you want a relationship or are you fine being single and like maybe you'd go on a date?
I think right now, I think I'd want a relationship. I think
Okay.
I'm done
So
being single.
and this is important to know because remember when I started the four pillars, creating awareness first. So now you're becoming aware your emotional states driving your behaviors, getting unwanted results. But you want to be in a relationship. So can you see how there's now a gap where you are versus where you want to be?
Most definitely.
And how do we close that gap? Let's keep moving. All right. Here's what I want to talk about. I love this quote from Carl Jung, and Carl says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So remember how I've already said that we unconsciously self-sabotage. So for example, procrastination is oftentimes driven by fear, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, uncertainty. But that unconscious self-sabotage, especially when it comes to health and fitness, how many people are going to start on Monday and don't?
About 90% of them.
Right. Actually, the statistic, well, this when it comes to New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutioners, 92% of people fail at the New Year's resolution they set out. So they want more money, better health, relationship, whatever it may be, get a job, start a business. So at least they created clarity, but they will unconsciously self-sabotage and stay stuck in the known. For example, I had a conversation with a gentleman 2 weeks ago who has been stuck in this mental fog, living in autopilot, beating himself up, not getting what he wants for almost 2 years. So, and look, you've been single for 3 years, and probably some of that is you just needed a break. But
Yeah.
let's get back to this quote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now, I'm not going to deep dive mental programming today, but here's what I want you to know. Your conscious mind, so this is the 5% of your mental programming, your dreams, goals, wishes, and desires. So in this case, to be in a relationship. That's what you want. You want to be in a relationship. Amazing. But 95% your subconscious mind, your operating system, think of it like a smartphone. Is there anything inherently good or bad about a smartphone?
No.
Okay, but let me ask this. A smartphone is only as good as the apps installed, right?
Right.
Okay, so now I want you to think about your mental programming just like a smartphone. There is nothing inherently wrong with you. But if 95% of your apps, which are your beliefs, your emotions, your habits, your behaviors, are going against what you want, you will unconsciously self-sabotage. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
So that's why awareness is everything. And that's all we're talking about today is just awareness. You have to understand, we have to start there. But now that you are more familiar with your emotions that are driving the show, and then we could go into and take thought inventory, and that's where coaching comes into play. But understanding this, because I do want to give you some tools today, understanding this, until you change your emotional state, what it really comes down to is your identity. That's why I touched on the idea of an alter ego. Version 2.0, who is confident, secure, and taking action, you might be single 3 years from now.
True.
Is that where you want to be?
No.
Or here's another thing. Why people, since we're talking relationships today, relationships are a huge pain point. So individuals who are codependent, can't be alone, super insecure, in that state, you can only attract what you are, not what you want. So when you are being insecure, procrastinating, and fearful, you could only attract a partner who is insecure and fearful. And is that who you want to date?
No.
Good. So, and that's, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just laughing.
Okay, and that's the whole point. Like, I'll just share with you really quick, because I don't want to get sidetracked from today's call, but I'll share with you my stance on relationships, why I understand this really, really well. It wasn't until my late 20s when I was tired of dating the same guy over and over with a different face. And the guy that I kept dating was emotionally unavailable and a workaholic who didn't make me a priority, which didn't feel very good. Until I stood back. So I wasn't blaming the guy. I took a step back and I was like, wait a minute. What is the common denominator in all of my relationships? Well, let me ask you, the common denominator in all of your relationships. You.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when I understood that, I then asked myself a question. And the question was, okay, what in me is attracting emotionally unavailable workaholic men who don't make me a priority? Uncovered, it was a thing from childhood, but I took on a story. So this is where you have to pay attention. This is again making the unconscious conscious. Excuse me. My mom stayed at home. My dad worked full time. He traveled a lot. So my dad was not around a lot because he was working. As an adult, I can see what my dad did, what he had to do to provide for his family, but a child does not know that. And we are most impressionable at that young age from like 0 to 7. So, anyway, long story short, I understood that I created a narrative that I wasn't worthy and deserving of a male's time and attention. Can you see how that narrative and my subconscious programming could only attract emotionally unavailable workaholic men who didn't prioritize me?
I can.
Okay. And that's all it comes down to. And then it's like having so much, giving yourself some grace. You didn't know any better. But the good news is you can reprogram it. And that's what this is all about. You can reprogram and change those narratives going on autopilot, sabotaging what you want in your life. And this is everything: health, relationships, money, business, everything. And so I got to create a new story. And since then, I've dated way different men. And really, like, I see every relationship as a stepping stone, creating clarity. And now I am so clear on my non-negotiables. Uh, dating is just a lot more fun. So, any questions
Sounds good.
here? Any questions here?
No, not really. I mean, just I know you have to do some work on myself to get where I want to be.
Yeah, and the big thing here is, I saw this recently. I think it was a TikTok. But people talk about shadow work, and here's what I want to say. When you get into the mentality of needing to heal and needing to do shadow work, and that just sends you down a rabbit hole, a never-ending loop that you will always think you're needing to heal and work on yourself. If you can see that both people are doing the best they can with what they have and what they know at the time, you can grow and evolve together. So
Yeah.
I want you to see that it could be a trap to hold yourself back and think, I'm not ready yet, which really says, I'm not enough as I am today.
Okay. And I do have those feelings quite often.
Which one?
The ones not worthy enough.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what we're getting into now.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the real problem? And again, today we're talking relationships, but I want you to know that we can plug and play this pain point, this unwanted result in those other major life buckets, money, success, health, etc. But what we've talked about today, let's talk about the tip of the iceberg. So again, I want you to see the tip of the iceberg here. This is your conscious mind 5%, what we know, what we're aware of, and the 95% operating system driving the show. So here's what we're aware of. And you just said it. I I'm not enough, right?
Right.
What are some other thoughts you have? Now's not a good
Oh.
time.
No, I always think it's the right time. Just, yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much they won't like me for really who I am.
Okay. So look at that. At the tip of the iceberg, what we got earlier from your emotional state. So you're insecure, fear, there's fear around it. And what this really means, the tip of the iceberg, if we got down to the root cause 100%, you don't feel worthy or enough. And this is
Right.
what's happening for every single human who has unwanted results. If you're, think about this, if your baseline, if your hardware is, I'm not enough, can you see how, even if the perfect person came along, you would sabotage or push them away because it doesn't meet or match the your mental programming? Does that make sense?
It definitely does.
And you know what, on this topic, I'm just going to bring this story in real quick. Somebody who I've known for more than 20 years. I actually dated him a long time ago, but we're friends and like we can, I love talking about these things. He has this problem and he didn't realize that feeling unworthy and not enough was sabotaging and ultimately pushing away every relationship he has had. So the reason I share that is because you're not alone. We're all doing it, right? But the good news is
Right.
that you can upgrade those apps, the software, the operating system. And the truth is, let me ask you, are you deserving and worthy of a loving relationship?
I think I am. Yeah.
Intellectually, logically, you could be like, well, yeah, I am worthy, but still, that's only 5%. 95% is driving the show. This is the work. All right. Before I
Right.
go on, any questions from here or understanding like kind of the subconscious patterns and beliefs?
No, I don't know.
Okay. All right. And again, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable and transparent. So, what I was really covering here in this idea, your conscious mind is only 5%. So, you might want more money, financial freedom, better health, a loving relationship. But it will be an uphill battle and you will struggle and effort and grind or procrastinate and stay at home because what you want is not in alignment with your mental programming, your operating system. And what I really want to clear up here is your identity. So your current self-image is I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, which is leading to feeling fear, procrastinating, and feeling insecure. Do you see that?
I do.
But if we flip the script and create a new identity who is confident, who knows his worth, who is taking action, who's having fun, who is magnetic and meeting women and not being a player, but like having fun, this guy is going to have a lot more fun in dating and more importantly, align and attract a much better partner than this insecure, fearful guy. So, what this really comes
Yeah,
down
that's the
to,
goal. Yeah.
yeah, what this really comes down to is creating an identity shift, as I shared earlier, creating version 2.0. And that's what I really get into with my coaching clients, which is what I want to share from here. So, the point of today's masterclass, remember, I really wanted to give you awareness. And now that you are aware of your operating system, subconscious programming, these negative beliefs, and that negative self-image driving the show, in order to close the gap, you have to have that identity shift, create the version 2.0, because that version of you has and that version of you is already available. Think about it more like we just have to peel back all the BS belief systems because when we pull back the insecurity and the not enough and the fear, you naturally become that confident, secure man out there taking action, right?
Right.
So, what I want to help lead you to, the next step from this masterclass is my offer is what I call my 30-day mindset reset coaching. This is a 4-week live training, just like we've done today. This is a group setting, but on top of the 4 weeks live coaching, you also get a one-on-one coaching call with me, kind of like what we've done today. In this program, you get instant access to the course materials. I also am throwing in $3,500 in bonuses. You get lifetime access to 2 of my other courses, Master Your Money Mindset and Upgrading Your that mental programming. So those are lifetime access. On top of that, I'm offering an early bird pricing for a $500 off and that coaching call with me. So the total bonus value is $3,500. I will include a link to this 30-day mindset reset in the description in the notes below. But I want you to hear like real world stories. I don't know why that's not loading. Cindy, who joined me in the 30-day mindset reset, here's what Cindy had to say after joining. Here's where she was. Remember that awareness Pete in the life assessment. She was stuck in her career, finances, and relationships, spinning on a loop. So she said having the tools and guidance to shift her mindset helped her align her actions with the future she wanted to create. And this one, I don't know what happened there. Here's what Heather had to say. She felt stuck in her life, work-wise and everywhere. She said she needed guidance and knew that I could provide that. Would absolutely recommend this program. It's a great baseline for anyone wanting to get unstuck and move forward in life. So that's what I want to offer you today is that 30-day mindset reset coaching. We start on September 3rd. So in just a short period, and that $500 early bird discount ends shortly. So here's what I want to do. As I promised, I said I would open it up for Q&A. So we've covered a lot today, but I want to help you specifically take something away from today's call. And again, if you're watching this video after the fact, drop your questions in the comments down below and I can come back and answer them. But what questions can I answer for you today regarding this relationship piece and closing that gap?
I think you did a really nice job so far, and I think I definitely will uh, get on the 30-day class or 30-day coaching. I'm not home right now, so I'll sign up later, but
Yeah, no
I
worries.
really have no
Okay.
questions right now.
Yeah, but look, you have me now. So let's from what I shared with you so far, and maybe some of it you were aware of, but was there any epiphany or aha that you got from the training?
I like the reverse engineering idea. Instead of going out, just dreading going out. And before you go out, get your mindset where something great's going to happen, and go out and be confident.
Yeah, and think about it. if you have the mentality and the identity of the guy who's fearful and feeling insecure, even we can feel that through dating apps. We feel energy. You can feel somebody's vibe, right? Have you ever walked into a
Right.
room and it just felt eerie?
Oh yeah.
We can feel vibration. You can feel it through the call today, but we can see it on social media. So, anyway, people on dating apps, when you're swiping, if you're coming with that kind of energy to the app, people are just going to swipe right by. And even you've probably experienced this. Let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. Somebody who's really needy. You know, they call it a stage five clinger. Somebody who's really needy and insecure and needs affirmations all the time. Do you want to be around them?
Nope, not at all.
And you don't want to date them. So that's why
Nope.
like this isn't arrogance and it's not that at all. It's truly it's knowing your worth and showing up as that version of you because I promise when you show up as that, you do naturally magnetize. One of my clients, he actually said he's like women are just throwing themselves at me. And he's a bald man. So I not there's nothing wrong with a bald man, but I remember
Right.
one guy told me, he's like, I'm single and nobody will date me because I'm short and I'm bald. Can you see how his belief system would sabotage any potential mate because he thinks he's
Yes.
ugly?
Yep.
Where this other client of mine, he just was confident and exuding that energy and he was light and he was free and he didn't care that he was bald. And I'm telling you, that man had no problem meeting women after we got done coaching.
Sounds good.